Hello friends, welcome to Squared Plans. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to be doing a flip through of all of my February after the pen spreads. I'll be showcasing all 5 planners that I have in here, as well as walking you through a little bit of my setup so you guys can see how I organize my planner. And so if that sounds fun to you, just stay tuned. So we have the cover. The first part of my planner is just a little pocket thing here, some stickies, my year overview, which is from my shop. So most of the planners in this planner that I use are from my shop. They are printables. And if you're interested, just check the description in the video below. I will have everything that I am using as far as planners in there, as well as some of the accessories that you might be interested in, linked so you can look them up. So yeah, so I have my year overview here, perpetual calendar. And then it goes right into my goals page. And before I had the goals tab on the front, but I've actually moved it to the working pages that I'm in right now. The goals section just has my vision board. It has my 2020 goals actually, which is supposed to be linked in here, but I must have pulled it out. I use little plastic photo corners to kind of keep pages together temporarily, and that works pretty well so that I can change pages out. So here I have my 2021 goals and then my 2020 goal review. I've been referencing this sheet a lot, and so I have my tab now in this area so that I can flip to it and see what I should be working on in each quarter. I've also made some changes to this just to alleviate some of the stress that comes with the goal in quarter 2 that I'm planning on doing, which is getting my Etsy shop listings up. So I'm going to start that a little bit early and move my memberships stuff later so that I don't have that extra stress on me trying to get everything done. So that's my goal section. I also have my habit tracker, which I almost pulled out again. For my faith planning, this is one of my long-term goals of spending quality time with God, so I have this habit tracker that I fill out every month based off of the habit tracker you'll see later in the video. So that is my goal section for now. I hope to beef it up a little bit, but I've been using my work planner for goal achieving, like setting out tasks and figuring it out. So you'll see a little bit of that as we go through as well. But yeah. Okay, so now we're getting into the planners section of my catch-all. I separate out all the dated sections with these pocket folders. I have one here and I have one at the back, both with pen loops on it so I can have 2 pens with me at all times. This is a friction erasable black 0.5 tip pen that I use primarily throughout my planner. Then the pen loop is from the Happy Planner. This pocket folder is from the Happy Planner as well. It's the Planner Babe. And then I also have a 4-color friction pen at the back with the same type of pen loop, just in pink, and another Happy Planner pocket folder. This one is awesome, the 4-color pen. Both of these are linked below in my favorite things. Check that out if you're interested. Okay. So the first part of my planner begins with my faith planner, and I have a little pocket pages set up here at the very start. Happy Planner put out a faith sticker book with these squares that I really thought were cute and great for, just spiritual reminders of things. So I just made a little pocket pages so I could keep them forever in my mind, and I did do a video on this if you are interested in that. That is how it starts off my faith planner. And then I have just the back of a currently page. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I'm doing some frankenplanning here in my faith planner using Happy Planner dividers and currentlies from another planner with my quadrant layout inserts from my shop. So the back of this page is actually a vertical layout that I'm not using, but I really wanted the currently page. So that's what I have here, the currently for this and the divider that matches so that they're kind of a spread, if you will, when looking at them. So last month I did a prayer list again here in this section. I added just a box sticker to kind of give me some lines because I think it's just a blank area and I like to have lines to write on. So I did a box sticker. I think this came out of the watercolor sticker book. Did my prayer list, and I also did a little moment here with my weight loss prayer for the focus of the monthly, which you'll see in a minute, which is my faith and fitness. I also filled out the currently, wrote in some spiritual goals, and then wrote in what I was grateful for the month. And that's how I'm using the currently, so it's just kind of a snapshot of how the month is going for February. And I just love all of these dividers and the handwritten styling of them. They're really beautiful. I only keep the monthly dividers in for this section and the social media section because just to cut down on bulk, really. But I really love these as inspiration, so I'm keeping them in. And then the social is part of the planner, which you'll see, so I can't really not include those. But yeah, for the rest of them, I'm just using my upper tabs to navigate to the monthlies, and that's been working out great. Next, we get into February, and so on the back of this, there is a monthly layout. I use a black piece of cardstock just to kind of cover that up and make it just a divider in and of itself. Now we start into my actual printables. And so for the month of February, what I decided to do was a faith and fitness challenge. So if you saw the setup video, there was a faith and fitness challenge that I found online that had both a spiritual daily reading and a fitness short workout that you needed to do. And it was mostly strength training based so that I could, follow along and do things both spiritually and physically to improve my fitness, which is what I needed. I needed some focus to get me kind of just in the groove of getting back on track with my health. So this was an awesome challenge for me to get going and to keep me accountable. I will say some of the verses near the end were a little bit repetitive. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. There was 6 readings each week. So in the beginning, I had 2 empty days, but it was a 30-day challenge. So I included the other 2 here. And like the Isaiah 40:30 was repeated. And then Philippians 4:6 was actually repeated that same Monday. These were the day 29 and day 30 readings, so that was kind of weird. But other than that, it was great. And I even start a few verses that I really want to go back to and just reference as needed. So that was the February. Let me pull out my dashboard. Okay, so this is how it came out, and I just hand lettered in as I went what verse I had read. I had penciled them all in ahead of time, and then each day I would just pin them in so I'd know I completed it for the day. So here is my very first week with lettering, and I decided on that kind of like darker green and peach tone, kind of pulling from the stickers I used for the month, and then black. And I've been using my twin markers for the colors. So these are great. They have a fine tip and a brush tip, which I use actually both of them in some instances, although the brush tip is really loose. You can kind of see in a couple of these, and then like here. So it's really hard to control when you're trying to make small, thin lines. I'm sure it'll get better as my control gets better, but that has been a little bit of a struggle. So what I did is I added on this Tombow Fudenosuke. I have no idea if that's how it's pronounced, but it's a hard tip brush pen, and it's really much easier to control as a beginner and do smaller brush lettering with. So I use that for a lot of the black brush lettering you see here, and then the twin markers for the color and also for the fine tip on there. I have a black version of this as well. So this is how the first week came out. I think it came out pretty good actually. I have good days and bad days with my brush lettering. I kind of feel like some days I'm in control and some days I'm not, but overall it's just good to constantly practice and then get a feel for it, because I know over time it will become more like muscle memory on how to do the actual brush lettering. So that was the first week. Here is the second week, and if you're unfamiliar, I use an app called YouVersion. It's or Bible by YouVersion, and it has a daily verse that it feeds into its app every day. I use that to complete the daily verse each day, and I just try to interpret what the verse is saying through lettering and also with doodles. That's how I kind of approach my lettering, and that's been working out really great for me, giving me a little bit more time to really absorb what I'm reading. I also use a pencil. I just use a regular mechanical pencil to sketch out what I'm going to do beforehand. I did do a reel on Instagram kind of showing my full process of doing one verse in the morning. So if you're interested in that and you aren't on Instagram, I'll see if I can figure out a way to put that onto YouTube somehow. I know they have the ability to have short videos, and I'll add that there. So basically I just pencil it in and then I trace over it once I kind of figure out how everything's going to lay out. That helps me with balance and making sure that everything's going to fit where I think it's going to fit within the block of space. So that was the next week, as you can see, and then here is the final week. And like I said, I actually felt really good about this. I don't really have any things that I felt like didn't work. The extra space is awesome. It just gives me a lot more ability to expand and try different styles. And yeah, just using the smaller brush pen, I feel like that one was on point. I really felt like that was really good. And then I did one the previous week, yeah, like this, and I was like, no, that's not good at all. So it just depends on the day, but it's all about just spending more time in the Word. So that's been great. So that is pretty much how my faith planning went for the month. And then I have this blank notes page that I'm not going to do anything with, I don't think, for the time being, but maybe I'll find a way to use it in the future. So now that we've gone through that, I'm going to go ahead and move in March. I keep a month at a time in this planner, in this catch-all, and I just work out of it for the full month. Now we're moving into the health section of my planner, which I also have another pocket pages kind of starting off the beginning of the section. This guy I made before I started my YouTube channel, so I don't have a video on it, but it's made very similar to the Faith Planner one if you want to see how that was created. And I just love this. I did flip it back around. I had flipped it so that this was on the front and this was on the back, but this was the original, and I really liked having that just right front and center here on the right hand side of the page. So I went back to that. I like that better. And then I have a health tracker section, which is where I keep my weight tracker, but also right now I had that faith and fitness challenge kind of mapped out here on one of these Healthy Hero 30-day challenge sheets I got like 2 years ago with the Healthy Hero planner when it came out. And this was very helpful. I was able to map out the entire month and kind of figure out how everything laid out, which was good. I did mark what level I did, and also if I had weights, I also kept track of what weight I was using. So that was good. I did pretty well. February is only 28 days, so I ended up not doing 29 and 30 because I'm going to start a new plan today, but that is how I ended up tracking it. And then I have my weight tracker here, which I do have a video on. It's like a fold out, and my weight is not good, you guys, so we aren't sharing that today. But I still need to do my health goals, and I have a plan for this as well. I'm hoping to do a video on that this week so that you guys can see. But don't hold me to it because I keep procrastinating on it, maybe because I don't want to deal. You know how it is. So that's my weight tracker, and then we get into my health month planner, which is a health layout from my shop. And jump in there. The first spread I have here is my kind of symptom overview tracker. I keep track of any kind of supplements or meds I'm taking each day, and then how I'm feeling, any symptoms I have, you know, if there's weather events, if that's affecting me. I have some really bad allergies and asthma issues, so I'm trying to figure out what might be triggers and foods and things like that that seem to help or don't help, supplements, what have you. So that's what I've been using my health monthly for the last, pretty much for the last like 4 or 5 months consistently, and it's been working really good for me. I also am using the lined monthly layout for this just so that my writing isn't all over the place, although it's still pretty messy, unfortunately. It's just because when I'm writing it in, I'm just, you know, it's like a brain dump of all the stuff that happens, so it's not quite as neat as I'd like it, but still, I think it keeps it very ordered, and I can go back to an individual day and figure out anything that I needed to figure out for my health. I also have some goals here on the side, which I put in, but I will say honestly, I don't look at this very much, even though it's here on the monthly. I just think I block it out. I need a better way to get more concrete goals in my face, and I'll be working on that, I think, in March. I don't do too much decorating. I don't show this as far as a plan with me because it's just very simple. I just use a mild liner for some color, a couple of stickers, and just kind of fill in any empty spaces with whatever. I don't spend too much time on it. Also, I use this key to kind of keep track of the medications or supplements that I'm using to make shorthand at the top where I've used the mild liners, in case I didn't mention that. Okay, so there was the full month, and then here are my weeklies, and this one was a fun one. This one, I tried this like long box for the workouts and then did florals around it, and this was inspired by EJ Joyful Plans. She did something kind of like this, not exactly, and I picked up on that and kind of made it my own, but this one came out really good. I've been using a lot of pink lately. I don't know what's up, but this was a very pink spread, but I still liked it. And yeah, I mean, the week I do my food tracking here, my stats, and then this is where my workouts go. Have some habit trackers here, and then usually some kind of goal in this area. So that was the first week of February. And here is the second week. This one was a fun one, actually. This was Valentine's week, and I didn't want to do anything too crazy Valentine's, so I did like a little Mickey Minnie setup here, but stuck with colors that weren't traditionally Valentine's, kind of picking up on the colors of their outfits. And this one was fun. I liked the colors. Bright colors are always helpful. Same setup though, workouts. This one had the decor kind of in this area with a little bit of decor here, and I kind of slid the workout below down here just so I could fit it in. But this one was good. I enjoyed this setup a lot. And then this one was for the Plannable Challenge, Cold Hands, Warm Heart. I actually really like this one. It was a lot of pen, which I don't do too often. It was very bold and bright, but without a lot of stickers. I thought that it came out really good. So really enjoyed this spread, and yeah, I mean, it's just one of my favorites, I think, for the month as far as health spreads. And then this is the week that just passed. I did a Farmhouse Florals week. I don't know what kind of possessed me to do it, but it came out really good. I wasn't really sure about the pastels mixed with the brights because they're not quite the same, but the tones I thought picked up enough to kind of make it work. So I ended up enjoying it. I actually had moved the decor to the bottom and the stats to the middle, and I really liked that, actually. It worked out well, and it felt a little bit more, I don't know, focused in, but definitely like having some decor here in the top, kind of mixing it in so that it draws your eye around the spread versus just you know, because usually the decor is right in the middle, so that's where you look, but here you don't really look at it until an afterthought, so the bright colors kind of help guide you to it. But yeah, so that was it. That was my last week in February for my health. And then I did my monthly stats page, which was really just a simple one color, all pen, bullet journal style spread or page that I do every month. And then I have my goals all set up, and I actually already filled it out. It's an awesome month for me as far as fitness, and I got all of my goals met, so I want to keep that momentum going for March. So that is my health, and I'm going to go ahead and move in health right now. And now we're into the daily section. So for the daily section, I started off with my schedules that I've made. I have a morning routine schedule. I have a weekly overview, which kind of maps out what I should be doing on each day. It's like a master schedule. And then I have a block schedule. That's also very helpful when I don't want to be too confined to an hourly schedule, but just kind of want to have some freedom within those time blocks to do what I need to do. All three of these I've done a video on. If you're interested, just check out my productivity series, 3 routine building schedules, something like that. You can look at that to figure out how I made everything and make your own. So now we're into the daily section, like I said, and the first spread is my monthly overview. For this guy, I have been using since for 2021 the monthly layout for memory planning in a sense. So I write down something each day that happened just to kind of give a little variation from day to day, since my life was pretty routine. So just something that stuck out that was different from the day before, just to give a little snapshot of the day. So that's what I've been doing, and I've just been using a black pen. I previously used my friction pen for January, which I didn't quite like the inking of that pen all over the page, so I changed up and went back to the twin markers and do a little penciling in sometimes too before I commit this one, since I can't erase. But just a nice fine tip marker has been really, I felt like it just was better overall and the effect was better. So I'm going to be probably using this going forward. I've been doodling and things like that too. I think I might pull back on that a little bit in March and just see if I like that better. Just kind of keeping it to a small bit of type and just, you know, like a memory, just laying it down without all of the extra fluff, and see if I like that. This is really great, but I feel like it's a little overwhelming, so that's why I'm going to try to pull back a little bit and see if I like it better with less stuff on the page. And I did a kind of like a love theme, because I like to do seasonal themes in my daily month, and this was really, I really like this a lot. I like the colors, but again, pink. I don't know what was up, but like I said, there's a lot of pink in this planner this month. And I'm not a big fan of pink in most instances, but I may be coming around because there's been a lot of pink. So this is the first week of February, and I did a bookish theme for this week. I really wanted to do a stack of books for some reason. I was just in the mood for that. So this one was not part of the Plannable Challenge this week. I think I did that one in the health with the Think Pink. So that's why it was so pink, that very first spread. I remember now. So anyway, yeah. So this one was different, but I really like this one, the rainbow effect. I liked the stacked books. That one was really fun and functional too. All good things. So that was the first week. This is the second week, and I did another rainbow spread, but this one I did kind of like a mix of watercolors and just lots of textures and hearts, and this one was, I think, All You Need Is Love. Even though it's not overtly love for Valentine's Day, I did start off with these watercolor hearts and built up off of that. But yeah, I get that it's not overtly all about love, but there is some hearts in there, so it counts, right? I really enjoyed this spread. A lot of people on Instagram, at least, definitely love this spread. This was like the most popular spread of the month. And I decided to put in a little bit of brush lettering, get some more practice in with that Tombow pen I showed you earlier. It came out really cute, I thought. So here I have a different spread. This one I had got some stickers from Coco Daisy to try out, and I really love them. I did some clusters of the stickers, and the spread came out really cute. It looks a little bit busy, I think, after the pen, but before the pen it was just super cute and clean. I think if I didn't have so much stuff going on that it would be a little bit cleaner looking in the end, but overall just still love these little clusters, these little moments, and enjoyed this spread quite a bit. So this week is the last week in February, and this one was Floral Fantasy. I really like how this spread came out, even though it is so pink. The unicorn just kind of add that fantasy element, but really florals, and then this kind of like pink hued sky with these rose gold metallics, so you guys can see. Try to move the pages around a little bit so you can see the metallics. But yeah, so this one was really fun, and I really liked this. I don't know why, but I did, and enjoyed this spread a lot. So it's a good finish to February. And then on the back of my February February daily, I have added a habit tracker that I use every month. And for February, I just basically track different elements and how I'm doing throughout the month. And so that's how that turned out. So that's my full overview of my daily. So let me go ahead and move in my March. And we are ready to move into the work planner. The work planner is still a work in progress. I am using the monthly layout from my shop, monthly tasks layout, I should say, and just a portion of it. I'm not using the full thing. I'm using the monthly at this time for just trying to get a pre-planning vision of what I should be working on each day, like what will need to be done in order to get things out on time. That's kind of how I'm using it here. That's working pretty good. It's just giving me a nice overview. So no frills here. It's all pen and very, very functional. And then I tried to make it a little bit cuter, but it really didn't come out how I wanted it to. This is the overview part of the planner, and it has like habit trackers, and it has, you know, priorities up here, just lots of space, which is great, but I really didn't need all that space, and I really wasn't sure how I was going to use it. So I just kind of mapped out my goal for the month, which was to launch the merch store, and kind of the main milestones I need to accomplish for the month, some tasks that needed to be done. I tried habit tracking, but that was just a waste of my time. And then I had some notes on this side, which I'll just kind of keep hidden for now, but I just did it in pencil, so just some notes on the actual goal and scribbles and brainstorming for that. So that's how that turned out. And then on the back is the beginning of the tasks part of the planner, but I'm only using one page. This is now my overview of the month, like my monthly tasks. So anything that comes to mind that needs to be done, I'm just going to put it down on this page, and then as I have time, or as I'm planning out my week, I can reference this page to add more tasks to achieve things little by little. I started out just kind of brain dumping things, and now what I did is I ended up moving those into categories so I could easily see what I was going to tackle by task, so in some kind of category, and that's helpful so I can find what I'm looking for or what I'm in the mood to do at any given time. So that's how that turned out. It's still rough. This is the first year I'm using this planner in a sense as a work planner. I haven't done that. Haven't really had a monthly goals planner, if you will, so still working out the kinks on this, but starting to get a flow going. So I'm going to go ahead and move in March. So now we are into my social section. And so I have a Happy Planner, a Homebody Seasons planner for this section. It's a dashboard layout. I've been using the perpetual calendar from that to track my daily follower subscriber counts for Instagram and YouTube, and just kind of keeping track, just writing them down each day. Then we jump into the monthly. So again, this planner is pre-decorated, so I really don't do a lot of decorating in this planner itself, but there is some, I kind of build up days where I feel like decorating and then some days I don't, but that's the beauty of this planner because it has lots of decoration already. I don't have to if I don't really want to. The monthly layout is very functional. I basically track what posts I'm going to be putting up on Instagram, and I use this as like a guide. I pre-fill it out before the month starts so I kind of know where I'm going for the month. And then I put in the videos that I plan on producing for the month in green, and anything in red is either a change or some kind of highlight that I need to pay attention to. So that's how that is. And then I've been adding in the plannable themes here on the side so that I can easily reference them without having to go onto Instagram or YouTube to see the list. So that's my monthly. So here is the first week of February in my social. I did do a little bit of decor here with some washi tape and a few stickers, but nothing crazy. Just tried to, you know, give it a little bit of fun and feels to it without it being, you know, overwhelming. I have been penciling in or drawing in my stat tracker here. So this just, again, is the follower count for both Instagram and YouTube, and then I actually track the progression or how many followers per day. And this is all pen. I used to use a sticker. I don't use a sticker anymore, and this has worked out great. I do put a sticker here and utilize this section for videos so I can kind of track the progress as I go through, and I showcase, you know, each step of the video production process so I can see where I'm at and if I'm on track. And then the rest is kind of like just weekly to-dos, routines that I usually do, and then just like an overview of the page. Here I do the videos, and I also do the Instagram posts and then the things that follow along with those posts, including having a story post or the video link in my story, and then my Pinterest post of the post I put on Instagram. Whew. Okay, so that's an overview of how I've been using this dashboard layout for my social. So this is how the first week turned out. And here's the second week, and this one was a little bit more minimal as far as decor. Let's try to keep things kind of simple. This week was the same week I had done the Cocoa Daisy, so I wanted to kind of use those elements again in here. Not real great as far as the overall effect, but it was fun to try to add in a little bit of something different here. So here is the last week, and this one I actually did use the Cocoa Daisy sticker sheets that I got and just try to use up some of those stickers because I still have a lot of stickers from February that I want to use and put to use. So I added those in here and then kind of color coordinate my highlighters to match with the theme. That was the last week of social, and I have my overview on the very back currently page to kind of talk about how things went. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of my planner. Basically, after you go through my social section, that is when you get into my Etsy sales, which is just a perpetual calendar for my shop that I'm just tracking my daily sales on, very similar to how the social growth was. And then I have a lined monthly layout for my budget, which I track our household expenses, things like that. And you can kind of see, this is the layout that I use. It's just back to back, so I have a half of a back of one in here, and yeah, the months just go continuously. That works out fine. I don't need anything else for my monthly, and that's the end of the dated section of my planner. So then, like I said, I have another pocket folder back here to divide out that section from the storage section, which is where I keep just things that I reference throughout the day or week or month that I need to have on hand in my planner. So I just have 4 categories: personal, business, social, and miscellaneous that I have here. And I won't go through those because some of those have some private information in it. And on the back of it is my library reading card. If you haven't seen this video, check it out. This is an actual free printable, so just look it up on my channel for a reading list or reading log, and you should find out more about that printable. And then finally, I have my notes divider, which is on the outside, like my goals, like I was mentioning before, to help me quickly get to the notes pages when needed, and then just some random pages back here. And that is the end of my planner. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch, and think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye!